Manishi, I have a question.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Sir, this Google form,
Y-
it says the day one. So do we have a day two form also? Or
Yes, I'll share it right away. I'll share it right away.
okay, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. We welcome you all to the day two session of Digital Health Call for Innovation. I welcome all the jury members, Sri Raghuramji, Dr. Nirvan, Santosh, and other jury members. I welcome the first innovator, Dr. Ronald, who has innovation on software on infusion pump management. a software suite catering to end-to-end automation in drug infusion scenarios. Dr. Ronald, are you there? You can share your screen and start presenting. Dr. Ronald, you're on mute. Dr. Ronald? While Dr. Ronald is sharing his screen, I would request everyone to switch on the video cameras so that we can click a photograph to be published for everyone. Dr. Nirmal?
Yeah.
Santosh? Dr. Santosh?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. We are also live on the YouTube channel. On the AMTZ channel, everybody can log in and see this live.
Nice.
I think he's re-logging in. He's just logged out and re-logging in. So just wait for a minute. Thank you so much.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Dr. Kavita.
Thank you.
Oh. So is Harshin? Do we have the other innovator, Harshini? Anybody from Harshini group? Can you please say yes on the chat? Check with Ronald once again, please. Harshini SV, we have a very interesting presentation on blockchain. Would you be able to present your presentation?
Yes, sir. 2 minutes, sir. My teammate said to join, sir.
Okay. If you can name your teammates, I can just make them panelists.
Yes, sir. Harish, Kaiser, Sobia, three of them, sir.
Harish, Sobia, and
Kaiser.
Kesar. Okay, I have included them all there. They can unmute now and they can start.
Thank you, sir. I'm audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, sir. I will present the PPT.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, is my screen visible?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, fine, sir. Thank you. Very fine evening to everyone present here. Thanks for allowing us to present our idea. So our problem we took us as cell screening cancer detection system. So what we considered as a problem is diagnosing of a cancer is not possible at home because diagnosis of cancers in hospital is hard to find because only a certain results are available in hospitals, which doesn't make cancer so accurate without a specific test. So, diagnosis of cancer needs various types of tests, which is harder to detect in at initial stages because it merges with other diseases symptoms, which leads to confusing of either it is cancer or a normal disease. So, so it is not possible at initial stage. So it takes a longer period to detect the cancer after various tests and analysis of patient by the doctors. So it is known only we consult the respective doctor, which might be lead to the detect of cancer in the later stage of stage 3 and stage 4 and most of the cancers, and the treatment can be given properly at the last stage. We know that everyone people die because of that proper detection. This results in death of many patients due to later findings. Only a very few cancer can be found preliminary stages. So what we targeting the people who are targeting us, since our solution can be accessed by everyone, we make the idea to available to general public, and this also can be used by general physician with some modification for providing regular questionnaire for the patients who come to them for visiting their knowledge. So our description of technology. So this is the overall process of our technology. So we can use NLP language for the chatbot to process the medical data which we storing in the server, and answer provided by the user, and frame the questions and every each and criteria. So in other words, we have the data of medical data of the patient. Consider he is using he or she is using the app for survey, I mean questionnaire. So self questionnaire now. So after that, the answer will be given by the user one by one, and the questions will be framed based on the medical data, and the answers he or she is given to the question. So our algorithm is we are in the plan of building our own algorithm, which is similar to NLP, but to the possible available resources, we are aiming to use the NLP. If we have the time means, we will try to build our own algorithm of 100%. So for the server purpose, we are in idea to use AWS, which is easily available for everyone, and to access the data. Then blockchain technology. Why blockchain technology means we have a huge amount of data, medical data about the patients in the server. No, so everyone can patch in, look, and get the data. So we need to encrypt. For that, blockchain technology is getting used for encryption. So criteria of the concept. So define self-screening application that assess the cancer risk of the user based on the previous test results, data, and various questions based on type of the cancer. As I said before, the test results and various questions based on the user type of cancer. So finding the cancer in the preliminary stage is the fundamental and the only characteristic of the app. Conceptual outcomes was calculating the cancer risk factor based on the series of questions and advices to the medical professional. So it conveys at the time of patient attending the self questionnaire. On the time it triggers a button to the medical professional who, if she added the person to want to let them know in the options. Conceptual boundaries always not possible to the predict cancer accurately. Sometimes it lead to this is not a cancer. This may be a normal disease. Even in normal life, when the doctor examine in front of them also this happens. So that's kind of things we can't avoid. So technical specification servers can be easily scaled up for large user database, which is easily help us to dig up more data and for classification. Around 250 MB is allocated per user data, means we get a lot of storage and lot of data which help us to do things. More data, more accuracy. Like complete data for the patient are stored in encryption to help the doctor to go through the health condition at any time. This is another outcome of the um, substantial outcome of our product. NLP algorithm will help us to retrieve information in a better way by asking the questions in efficient method. So it is a AI based, no. So apart from giving a loop for everything, if else means, we can better use like AI means. Previously he answered this one. Now he answering this one. So we should ask this one. So NLP algorithm acts based according to that. Requirements for our thing means web application for self screening, server for storing data for the patient, and blockchain technology for security of data stored in the solution in the server. So we have the plan for about 6 months. First, we are new to the line. Web application requires 1 month. Algorithm structurizing and testing all kind of things in 2 months. Data collection of the patient 2 months. So we need multiple number of patients to collect their data and entry it now. Data security 1 month, that is blockchain building. Total time period is 6 months. We're planning at 2 now. So hardware system AWS, I said before, this one is the mainly hardware system we need. So server store in the data to run the application. So which makes us to run our product smoothly. Outline of the project. So this is the flow of the project. Like app is created where patients can log in with their social account, or they can use their email ID for as usual like everything with a secured password. Patient can take self-screening test with the questions of displayed in the app. Then cancer can be detected with the person with the screening test which is created using NLP algorithm. Questions based on their inputs and medical data and patients. Uh, Patient medical data is stored using blockchain technology for encryption. Person can visit the hospital for further diagnosis or treatment. If the app blocks out you are like positive for cancer, you must consult a doctor. So scope of our work, by inputting this idea, we get know about the information of the patient in two methods, but either by chat or having the records of the medical data. As the technology improves, the accuracy of prediction of cancer at early stages is high. As hence this self-screening system is implemented to detect cancers at early stages to prevent it. So when we have more data about the patient or more data about a human being, we can prevent it in early stages. And we can set the app to provide news awareness to the cancers, like any kind of you may get from cancers. So it is certain of for example, if we take breast cancer means married woman around 30 to 35 to 45 get cancer. This is the type of age. So we can pop up a notification and ask them to self questionnaire the type of cancer, or they can be more casual when they develop some kind of a system. So this is kind of an awareness to them. This will act as a source of information for doctors to access about the patient. So later on, if doctor need to access the patient at more level means, this will be act as a source of information. Uh, Not a source of any huge source of information. Spotting cancer is really the key, but trying to do often then there is no system has been a challenging one. That's the most difficult one we feel actually in the loop and out of the loop. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Harish. So, if we were to ask you, what is the one-line statement for your project with your technology in it? What would be that be?
About our project, sir.
Yes.
It is a self-screening app which uses blockchain technology to store the medical data. Based on that, and the questions they are answering is spontaneously. It will change the questions according to the each and every user, and we get to know about the cancer by self-screening.
Okay, so we might have a lot of questions for you. So we'll put into our first jury member, Raghuramji.
Hi, Harish. Good afternoon.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Hi. So cancer is a very important topic in the country. I have three questions. Two of them are very simple. Do you have doctors in your team?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So why did you choose this cancer early detection of cancer by patients themselves, even before they reach the doctors? Where did you get this idea?
So I have seen many blogs and things happen in around world, and I have some relatives who are doctors, and moreover I was interested to go on that field, the doctor, my personal interest, but I can't go through means I followed into engineering.
Okay. So my last question. You started very early on. The reason why you chose this project is many a times it's difficult for the patients to detect the cancer. The testing takes a lot of time, and late detection leads to mortality. These are the reasons which you've given. Even with so much of extensive testing, sometimes it's very difficult to identify cancer, what type of a cancer, what stage. Now, you saying that with your algorithm, you are able to predict. Do you have a set of knowledge or base to which you will be able to detect? So algorithm is one part of it, but the algorithm needs some kind of arrays of inputs and the correlation between the answer, medical condition, and correlation, and then come out with this is a possible cancer case. So do you have all the set of data?
For now, sir, we are building our own algorithm now, sir. So concentrating on that, we have one set of data for breast cancer, sir. How it tests are done, how we need to do like that, sir. For breast cancer, we have it now. For one more complication for after you're asking, I need to add on. For the type of lung cancer and blood cancers also, we need the biopsy test now, sir. So we can do that only in hospitals only. So that cancers will be left out of the loop, sir.
Okay, I'm still wondering how you are able to predict based on a series of questions and maybe a few early diagnostic data points,
Yes.
and then you are leading them to the doctor for the
Yes,
cancer
sir.
detection. But I'll reserve my questions. I'll wait for the other panel members, to jury members,
Okay.
to ask their questions.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Dr. Nirvan.
Hi. Good work, Harish. I mean, good concept and it's
Thank
a
you, sir.
prominent field here. Uh, so I have a few questions, because we work on machine learning and artificial intelligence. So, what is see my initial question, like it's a broken record, like what is your confidence for, like what you have done already? So, how confident you are? Because NLP is a very kind of like it is a challenging field. There are many different aspects of it. The language itself is a so there are I go a little poetic in there. There it says that language is a conspiracy between two human mind, because we want to say something, we write something, and we mean something else. Particular field in detecting something like cancer, which is very critical. So somebody can write, probably feel something. There are different people. for a different kind of pain. Somebody can write, I have a tingling pain. Somebody can write, I have a piercing pain. Somebody can write, I have a thumping pain. So all are like very non-standardized way of saying. So how do you manage that? That is probably the second question. The first question is, what is your baseline now? How confident you are with the baseline? The second is that how do you manage such ambiguity in language when you're talking about NLP for detecting such a critical illness, and you cannot be wrong in there, right? So if you can.
Yes, sir, I understood the question, sir. For the first one, how we are confident means through the past scenes, nobody has done anything. I mean, they may be tried, but that doesn't come out to the world. When we try means we'll know how to do no, sir. So after this, getting this topic idea from the posters only, we got this idea. We've been brainstorming ourselves for the just 1 month. So after some more months of digging more data, we think that we can achieve something. So for the second question, sir, you asked the language barriers actually. That is quite considerable part. But we, while writing the algorithm, when the symptoms is not regular, means we have one set of an answers. If the symptoms are okay, means warn them they have this cancer, like breast cancer means they have lumps on their over the breast, and lumps means swellings over the breast, and they have pains in genitals and vagina, then more blood out through the vagina. Like these are the symptoms of the breast cancer. So when this occurs means they will promote them. They might have the cancer. It will not tell surely, because with the mammograph and MRA also, we can't tell them they have the cancer confirmly. So it requires them to consider them for the test and all that, sir.
So you already have a model, a working model, or
No, sir. No, sir. We just got the idea in 1 month before.
oh, okay? Thank you. This is a good field actually. A lot of challenges, So
Yeah, yeah, sir.
you
Thank
have
you,
to
sir.
be consistent. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
sir.
Nirvan.
Thank you.
So I would request the innovator to switch on the video also, so that we can see the group together. And over to the next jury member, Dr. Anil.
Okay, sir. 1 minute.
Hello. Yes, it's really a wonderful presentation. What I've understood is this is like it's still at the ideation stage. You have this idea, you haven't tested or validated it, and with this innovation call, you would like to implement it and test it. Correct? That's one.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Harish,
sir. Yes, sir.
can you hear me, Harish?
Am I audible, sir? Sir?
Yes, yes. Now you are. Yeah. So one thing is whom do you think your end customer is?
Uh, the final customer would be the general public, sir. They can download the app, get into the website in the browser. They can self questionnaire himself.
Okay. And you did say about your the requirements. You need a hardware for like AWS server. But have you got any financial figures of how much how much of uh, financial
Yeah,
support you need for this project?
sir. We require around 3 lakhs. What we seeking, sir, but it may reduce or it may high, because sir. For the maintenance of the server, it may requires about one to 1.5, and for the testing of algorithms and acquiring of the data and all, it changes around 1.5 to 2, sir.
In terms of building this data security, the blockchain side,
Yeah, yeah, including all that, sir, including the host, everything, sir.
so it's about 4 lakhs maximum.
Yeah, maximum of 4 lakhs and minimum of 3.
So I guess you included the hardware cost also, right? AWS.
Yes, sir. AWS is we are looking into about the server now, sir. So included at that, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Dr. Kavita?
Thank you, sir. Hi, Harish. Actually, you have chosen a very difficult area, and you are talking about self, assessment of a disease. So, if you think if people are that much aware that they can do self-assessment, they could go to a healthcare professional. And when we are talking about early detection, that early detection means when there are no symptoms. At that time, we are catching the cancer and we are recommending that patient for the treatment to save his life, to improve his quality of life.
Some papers. Sure.
So when you're talking about a format and a questionnaire where patient has symptoms, first of all, patient don't know symptoms. They can't express symptoms. They don't understand no medical terminology. So I mean, you need to redesign it. Maybe you can uh, take a one area and then you can, you know, give guidance for the treatment by the questionnaire. That can be for doctors or that can be for patients to adhere to this particular treatment regime if they are diagnosed with this disease. That can be done, but this, to just make a questionnaire and give that questionnaire to the people and tell them to evaluate yourself, I don't think it'll give you any results. I really doubt, being a medical practitioner, since we target early detection, and early detection is a phase where patient don't have any symptom. So if patient don't have any symptom, but still he has a cancer, that is the place, that is the stage when we do mass screening. We do mass screening and we find out, we catch early cancers and we send those patients for the treatment so that we can improve their life. I really doubt how are you going to, yes, we can do something. I'm not saying this idea is completely wrong. Yes, definitely with this questionnaire or with the self assessment, we can help patients to deal properly with cancer, deal properly not only with cancer, deal properly with any disease. So, for example, if a patient is diagnosed with, I'll say, simple gastric upset. So, if a patient is diagnosed with simple gastric upset, what he is supposed to do? So, maybe the treatment regime, and that too, when he is diagnosed by a physician, or if any cancer, and that too of which stage is diagnosed, then what is the treatment regime which a patient should follow? You can make something like that so that patient can see that, and patient can get, adhere to their lifestyle, to their medication, to make certain changes in their daily routine. That is what you can do, but to do the diagnosis, it's very difficult. These are just my comments.
Yeah, I understand your point, ma'am. Actually, I have this thought, but when we try with the patients, means we will get to know, though, ma'am. We didn't try that. You are practicing, means you know that, ma'am. But
Yes.
to the my end, I thought asking them by the question as like generally you ask about their parents. They already have their grandparents. Like, do you have any kind of same kind of an trail ups in your family or congenital like these things, no, ma'am? So
That
we
is what,
start.
if you're talking about people who are illiterate, they have that much awareness that if they find some symptoms, they should go to a healthcare professional. But if you're targeting people who are illiterate, no, who don't know, they will not be able to understand your questionnaire. They'll not able to, make conclusions out of it. So I really don't know who would be your
Yeah,
target
yeah,
audience and how they
understood,
would be
ma'am.
using this tool. Understood.
So another idea you said was actually quite different, ma'am. But that is a good idea, but we don't get any freedom for that this topic, ma'am. They specifically said to consider to self screen the cancer, ma'am. So if you want to develop the idea you presented, means that will be very different, ma'am. So while developing this also, I got an idea. So like for I've been thinking, so, ma'am. So after we constructing this for this one disease, ma'am, we can develop it to general app for all kind of a disease as well.
So that is what you have to first, clarify your objective, what you want to do. So this objective is huge.
Yeah.
You cannot do this. You have to narrow down, you have to zero down this to a one simple problem statement. Start with a simple question, then you take baby steps to grow it further. Okay.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kavita. Vivekji, you have any other question?
Yeah, just one. So Harish, thank you for sharing your presentation. Just want to understand, have you ever considered using UMLS, which is basically Unified Medical Language System, and MetaMap for your application? Because that will help you to kind of, put together all the ends and see how a patient, is progressing and helping detection of the disease.
Actually, no, sir. I didn't aware of that system, sir. Unified medical.
Medical language.
Sir, I didn't aware of that language, sir.
Okay, you can look into that, because it is a natural progression from NLP also. So probably that will give you some ideas about how to go about doing that.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vivekji. Thank you, Harish and team. We'll move on to the next participant, Dr. Shakila.
Thank you, sir.
You can present your screen, please. Her topic is ICU monitoring.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Dr. Shakila.
Yeah. Can you start sharing my screen?
Please go ahead.
Is my screen visible to you people? Hello?
Not
Hello?
now. No, we are not able to see your screen.
I'm not able to share it.
Should we share your presentation?
Yeah, I think it's
Okay,
possible.
okay. Yeah, I think we are also getting error in your PPT when opening. Yeah, it's coming up, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm able to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am Dr. Shakila Kulashekaran from Chennai. I am basically a pediatric intensivist, and not during COVID, even before COVID, we have been doing many managements through tele ICUs and teleconsultations. So almost I have experience in tele ICU for the past 8 years. And with all that knowledge and whatever obstacles we have been coming across, we thought, why don't we design our own software which can just handle the problems whatever we come across whenever we handle patients on a tele ICU. So our solution for the ICU present tele ICU problems would be, as such, tele ICU is a recent concept in Indian scenario, but we thought we'll just go a step ahead, go for an AI-based management of ICU using the data-driven management as well as integration of all the ICUs, so that like the transfers become minimal and the clinical management of the patients happen in time. So our solution is an AI-based remote ICU monitoring software. So let me see how it will work. It's a data-driven intelligent solution, and which will help in integration of the data from various ICUs, from various specialties like neonatology, cardiothoracic, surgical, and heart and lung, as well as workflow automation, which will happen simultaneously. And ultimately, these two things will reduce the time required for managing the cases. So the current teleconsultation problems, when we come to the teleconsultation, tele-ICU problems faced by the doctors is the portability. Most of the time, we are supposed to go to the console and then time spent for almost 6 hours at the minimum, so that we'll be able to cater to the patients on a tele mode. And the unified information what we get and the relevant outcome what we come across, it is something like we go sit in the tele console and then we spend our time. But whereas the solution which we are planning to bring it is making it as a portable solution, like wherever I am. Like to be frank, like I'm just connecting to you from a textile shop. I just could find out a room because half an hour back I was given the mail to join this call. So like that, like anywhere I am, like if there is a call from any patient, any tele ICU, when they want to connect to us, they can just connect immediately. So that is the solution which we want to bring out. So from the nurse's perspective, from the present ICU, tele ICU concepts, they have a lot of barriers with the technology, the equipment, the device, the health information technologies. The nurses have barriers with regard to the organization and characteristics of tele ICU, as well as they are having problems with related to the characteristics of the different ICUs, and barriers with regard to the patient-to-patient information and patient care issues, barriers regard to the tele ICU and the regular ICU. So we try to find out a solution for all these problems in one go. That is the one which we have designed our software. And how our software, the problems we try to solve is, we will like imagine like there's a peripheral hospital where they want to build up connections with the centers in the tier 1 cities. So our software will be able to build the regional presence and extend intensive services to any periphery. It can be any remote area. So like peripheralization of healthcare, or healthcare happens at the doorstep. Instead of patients being transferred, we try to bring out the services to the periphery. That is the most important thing which we try to solve. And enable immediate access to virtual intensivists to monitor the patients and adhere to the best outcome possible. And the third, it will be something like everything will be protocol based, or like the whole India can be under one tele ICU project, which will be totally AI driven. Like whatever person in Haryana does, the person in down south will be doing it. We'll have a defined protocols and we'll stick to the protocols. And what will happen is, like imagine if you're having a patient which needs a renal problem, and then the concerned intensivist will be connected, and then we try to solve the problem at the place instead of shifting the patient. So it will reduce the patient transfers and other related morbidity and mortality related to the transfer and the cost related to the transfer. And it will be possible to practice proactive medicine, provide early identification, alerting of the risk to reduce the time to intervention through clinical surveillance and data visualization. It will be a central monitoring, so where we will be having proper data visualization of all over the number of ICUs which are being cared at, so that we know we can predict many things even before it happens. Like, for example, like right now I am managing a multi-drug resistant enteric fever. So if I come across 2 or 3 cases, then just alert saying that like this area is prone for multi-drug resistant, and all the intensivists will be totally aware of it, and then they will be totally ready to handle the situation even before the problem arises. So the way our software, how our software is going to work. So it will monitor the clinical situation, and it will be fed up with, it will be given all the AI-driven data. The one more other problem which I forgot to mention is in the present ICUs, it is something like we have to keep on looking at the data in spite of whether it is going to be wrong or right, or any only when the alarm comes we have to look into it. Something like we have to be just plugged onto the screen. But whereas when we have a proper intelligent ICU software, it will be given, it will be fed with the AI-driven data, so that it will be able to pick up the abnormal signals. It can be related to the respiratory rate, it can be related to the any vital parameters. It will pick up and then gives an alarm. It can even give a notification to the concerned specialist in the mobile. And the consultations happen through, like, the clinical team connects directly to the patient's room with access to real-time clinical patient data. And the third one is the intervene. The clinical team can start the intervention with the help of the medical team, which is based at the ground, and transfers a continuous real-time monitoring of the patient, and to proactively avoid any adverse events during transfer also. And we will have a proper analytics where the real-time clinical process improvement metrics to improve the units and the hospital's quality of care and patient safety. The key features of our software would be, it utilizes the full range of available patient data, seamless interface with existing EMRs and medical devices, stable patient AI model, on-permission or cloud deployment, highest level of data security and patient privacy, actionable predictive clinical analysis notifications, scalable systems for tele-ICU facility of any size. And it can view patients' acuity and occupancy for all units at a glance on any device. It will be, for this, I can just give you an example. The bed will be, instead of having a lot of vital parameters, one of the solutions where we want to bring out over here is the bed itself, the patient's ICU bed itself will be digitalized, so that the bed occupancy rate, which beds are vacant and all that will be seen at one glance when we look at the screen, as well as the bed will be enabled with sensors to assess the vital parameters instead of looking at all the parameters, and that will be integrated into our telemonitoring system. So the next thing will be prioritize rounds and monitors best clinical practices with intelligent recommendations, ensure easily customize how patient data can be visualized, like in whatever way the consultant would like to have a look into the vital parameters. So our solution, it will be automatic data capture from medical devices, automatic data capture from multiple medical devices, including patient monitors, syringe pumps, and ventilators from various device manufacturers. So using it is something like it's user friendly with any device. It need not be it can be customizable to any medical equipment of any brand, using specialization of devices along with the combination of server and database applications. The ICU specific features will be customizable for your ICU, integration of ICU specific advanced medical devices, ICU specific clinical scores, and advanced alerts, so that the early pickup of problem cases will happen. And anywhere, anytime, any device. This is the one thing which I always wanted to have for all these years whenever I have been managing tele-ICUs. So like it's a live real-time data is accessible by users from anywhere using a web browser, and any interface can be used. This helps an expert clinical decision and advice from anywhere. Physicians can have access to the clinical history, live vitals, live waveforms, and playback. And workflow automation will happen. Advanced user-friendly modules for workflow automation for all clinical pathways, Automatic data integration of device and lab data completely replaces your paper-based workflow. Nurse overload related to data entity is reduced more than 70%. Modules cover fluid balance, nurse and physician notes, interventions, drug prescription, administration, assessment, patient demographic data and clinical history, lab data, procedures, automatic PDF reports, and medical legal compliance reports, which will be of very useful in reducing the medical errors. And there will be comprehensive data integration of lab, radiology, HIs, data security and privacy will be maintained. The comprehensive data integration will be of use in later to predict any disease epidemic or a pandemic which is happening or any endemic, so that the medical care system is given an alert. So data-driven predictive intelligence is the one which is going to play a great role in predicting the problem within the community, or even if we can predict a pandemic happening. The intelligence features, or it is data in AI solutions built on millions of patient data points. Sorry, I'm just running it through. AI solutions built on millions of patient data points for early detection of clinical events brought through REST-based APIs. Data intensive, trained on a database comprising of more than 20 million de-identified health-related data points. And it is adaptability. We harness the power of real-time series data from the EHR to virtually compute an unique e-signature for each patient, which captures the variability and crucial functionals to give an accurate prediction. The algorithm adapts itself depending on the availability of features being input from the choices of vitals, lab, comorbidities, and drugs. And based on the data density to automatically choose the best model and deliver the best prediction. And it will be a precise outcome. We surpass the accuracies of traditional scoring mechanisms like SIRS, ASOFA, News, Tribus, CRARE, and other deep learning based solutions providing predictions 6, 12, and 18 hours before onset of sepsis. And this is going to be of a very great help. Most of the time, once a sepsis strikes and managing the patient with any high level of antibiotic is not going to help. If you're able to predict sepsis or even shock, even before 8 hours before the problem arises, the management can be tuned to manage the condition, so that like we will be able to prevent a occurring morbidity or mortality related to the present sepsis or shock. Early diagnosis of sepsis and mortality index compared to traditional scoring mechanisms like SIRS and etc. This AI algorithm has much higher accuracy with log heads of 6, 12, and 18 hours and 2 days in patient mortality. Adaptability, that's I've already discussed. Advantages of our software would be real-time data availability, early identification of high-risk patients, automated triaging tools. This is achieved by embedding clinical protocols chosen by our clinical partners at the hospital or at unit level, presenting customized displays to the right person at the right time, helping to decrease time to intervention and the variability in care. Monitoring information from diverse information systems such as vitals and ancillary monitors and laboratory systems and medication systems in addition to the EHR. Clinical surveillance data visualization platform. Utility would be application once configured collects data effortlessly in real time, surveilling every patient every moment of every day. Insight into how performance changes over time. Intelligent algorithm fires an intelligent alert unique to role-based clinical workflows, signaling the right clinician when it has reached a predetermined threshold. If it is a pulmonologist, then depending on the respiratory rate and other parameters, whichever is set, the concerned ICU specialist will be getting an alert rather than alerting the whole ICU, tele-ICU team. No manual data entry on the part of clinicians, which relieves more time to them to concentrate on more lives. Unique proprietary KPIs that monitor the ROI. Applications, the AI-based algorithms are specifically trained the AI-based algorithms are specifically trained to identify respiratory deterioration. Sorry, I'm presenting from a mobile and then now. The AI-based algorithms are specifically trained to identify respiratory deterioration in advance, enabling early interventions that may change the clinical outcome, especially in COVID-19 patients. The machine learning models enable ICU workers to proactively manage disease severity and workload. The system's minute-by-minute risk stratification provides real-time acuity classifications, allowing timely interventions and improved prognosis for critically ill patients. As a telemedicine-based solution, the system is used remotely, using scaling to cope up with the patient volume surges while reducing a caregiver's exposure risk to infected patients. Software development framework with this. Hope I have time, I can just discuss on it. Hello?
Yes, you can share. You can discuss. We have another 5 minutes.
Another 5 minutes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, this is our process flow. I can just briefly discuss. The databases at the hospital level. There will be flow charts of the vitals, the medicines and fluids orders will be there. Labs will be at one place, and the IO chart, and all this will be integrated to our software. And once the data is given, according to the data collected, it will give an alert, and it will be reaching the AICU interface engine, where there will be a server which will map all the data which has been provided to it, and that will result in a knowledge system, as well as a predictive models will be built on all this AI data which has been fed with to the system, and which will result in prediction alerts. And we will have logging, monitoring, auditing, as well as authorizing and authentication security built in within the system. Benefits of having an intelligent ICU solution: continuous patient risk stratifications, actionable predictive clinical analysis, acuity-based resource allocation, customizable and automated real-time clinical optimization, applying best practices, dynamic work list prioritization, improved case volumes and workload reduction, patient context prioritization. And the actionable predictive clinical analytical alerts is the one which I've always been highlighting. It will leverage the existing patient data, dynamic work list prioritization, customizable real-time clinical optimization. And about the ease of use, data from multiple ICUs will be fed into the system, where the integration happens, prediction happens, and then accordingly it will be put onto the concerned specialist. And it is, as I told you, like anytime, anywhere, any day, any device, it can be, all the data can be shown on a mobile, and it is possible to access the data from the patient using any device, and it will be able to deliver our care at the earliest possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shakila. Indeed, it was a very nice presentation and a product which you have made. So we'll move to the jury. Raghuramji.
Hi, Dr. Shakila. It's a first of all, it's congratulations for the wonderful need of the hour in the society, in the entire country, not only here, anywhere else in the world. And if implemented, it enhances the ICU capabilities dramatically. And I have noted down actually a lot of points. Really excellent presentation, well thought out, the entire solution. If it's implemented, great help for the society. And scaling up is something which you have to work out. I presume this solution is for a B2B. Basically, anybody who's handling the ICUs For example, you take a hospital like Manipal Hospital or Fortis Hospital, like they implement this solution once it is developed, and then they're able to utilize this solution across their networks. And the biggest challenge, what I see, I think you also agree, is the integration. That is the key. For example, same hospital chain, different hospitals have different equipment, and the integration points are not easily available even on the most sophisticated machines. The SDKs are not given easily by the manufacturers, the device manufacturers, and there are hundreds of devices which are there available in every ICU, and the makes are different. The years of the technology used are different. So how do you feel that you are able to? How do you think you are able to quickly plug and play and implement this solution to capture the data? Because all the other solution what you spoke is feasible, really great, but the biggest challenge is data acquisition. Forget about the regulatory compliances and HIPAA compliances. That's secondary. So what's your opinion? How long will it take for an implementation of one ICU using your app?
Actually, we have started working on providing a solution. Like we have started working on based on this AI-based tele-ICU. If you ask me what will be the shortest time to execute, you mean to ask?
The device integration, the API integration of
Device
data
integration.
acquisition into your
At the
app.
maximum should be around 3 to 4 months. We would be able. We have started the workflow, just initiated, and at the maximum would be around 3 to 4 months. We'll be able to integrate the data. The software for data integration should be possible by that time.
No, there are two things. Every data acquisition is you have a standard APIs, but you need to fit the other side of the equipment in pulling the data from the equipment is not so easy. So it is a ICU to ICU implementation, right?
ICU to ICU, that can happen. Like as of now, we are in the process of integrating 2 ICUs in Chennai. So it is something like we have to acquire more ICUs under one umbrella. Only then this getting the data inputs possible. Otherwise, it has to be a government-driven concept where all the government hospitals can have tele-ICUs and the data can be collected at one point. Unless and otherwise, everything is under one umbrella of tele-ICU monitoring system, collecting data from all the sources, because no one will be ready to share the data. Unless and until it comes under one umbrella, it is difficult to collect it. The software part might take, the integration might take some time, the API software, but as far as collecting real-time data from all the tele-ICUs, unless otherwise, if it's a government-driven project where government has, even in Karnataka, in 2 government hospitals, district government hospitals, tele-ICUs have been done by one of our partner, like with whom we are developing our software. RTWO along with Cerner, they're setting it at the government hospitals in Karnataka. So if you are able to approach all the government sectors and then peripheral hospitals in tier 2, tier 3 cities, absolutely possible to integrate the data where predictive analysis also is possible at the earlier time. About any endemic dengue cases or even dengue resistant cases, the dengue type 2 virus, all those things we can just within a jiff of time, we can transfer the data to other intensivists.
Thank you. Thank you. That's my observation. Technical integration is the biggest challenge, but otherwise very excellent solution. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Raghuramji. So, indeed, I think very well thought product. I would bring in Vivekanand Sahuji, who is head of digital business, in front of few other jury members. Mr. Vivekanandji.
Yeah, thank you, Manishji. Yeah, and thank you, Dr. Shakila, for the presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the only thing I just wanted to check, when we have to ramp up, because this will be consuming a huge amount of data and images and this thing. So what have you thought of the process of how you have to ramp it up? For example, to scale up the entire operations, for example, if it is going to be 100 hospitals, so how is the entire backend plan for this?
Yeah, we need to have a server which can store all data, transfer all data. Definitely, we have to have a big data server which can just store up the data, and then we'll be able to deliver without any problem a proper seamlessly transferring the data from one end to other end. And we are working out on that part also. Actually, like we thought this is something like a dream project, I can say. And still working on it. Yeah, that's what, there should be a seamless transfer of data as well as conglomeration of data.
Right.
And that is what it needs, a big database which has to be stored in a big server, or and I'm
Yeah.
not that.
No, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. It is just that I think someone from a team.
Sorry, I could not hear you, sir.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Manishji, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I think there is some audio problem with Dr. Shakila. Can you hear us?
Sorry.
Dr. Shakila, if you can permit me, I can answer that question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the issue of scaling it up to actually incorporate the vast volumes of data, which actually can go into as much as a few, petabytes or zettabytes. What we can do is we can look at, solution providers like AWS, if at all that is a good way to begin with, wherein by virtue of having this pilot project, like we are trying our best to get this pilot project in Chennai and in Bengaluru. So I have talked to a couple of people in AWS who would be willing to take this up once we are scaling. I mean, initially, when we started off this entire project, we had a talk with Philips India, and they were interested to actually take this project up in a big way. Now, the issue with Philips India, which we got at that point of time, was that there was this whole issue of which server the data was going to be stored in, as Philips was wanting a co-sharing of the data, which I don't know what application or what use they had for a planned in. So then I went to talk on to AWS, and AWS is happy to come in as a partner when we have scaled up to this level. Well, obviously, I also think that another way that in which we can, if we are actually taking up at a government level, is to try and see if we can get the government to be actually allowing us to use their data servers. There are plans of developing large healthcare data servers in the country in 2 or 3 strategic locations. So we may as well get that opportunity once when we have features like that.
Thank you, Dr. Nitesh. I'm sorry. We'll have to move to your presentation
Okay.
next, and we'll come to Dr.
I first and foremost apologies everybody. I had some real serious internet issue connections, and I just couldn't connect. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use the video feature even now. So apologies first and foremost. So I'll
share
just
the presentation from here, and you can take it forward. So we'll have just 10 minutes for your presentation.
Sure. Please, yeah.
Thank you so much. And sorry for Dr. Shakila for all the questions we'll post after this presentation. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just start on my presentation. Okay, so good evening, gentlemen, and anyone else. Normally what happens with most infusion pumps in all ICUs or in wards anywhere in the world is that they are mostly made by a number of manufacturers who have their own ecosystems, which provide very regulated access to what sort of drugs can be pushed and how much of liberty there is in the kind of information that healthcare personnel can have to these infusion devices. So we are dealing with a lot of various kinds of infusion pumps in all sorts of hospital settings. And most of them are actually, I mean, if we talk about the newer infusion pumps that are coming up, they are so specialized and so sophisticated that it does take a lot of time for healthcare personnel, including senior consultants or residents or senior nurses for just the learning bit of it. So essentially, the problem that we're seeing in infusion pumps is that the learning curve is very steep, number one. Number two is that there's a lot of time wastage which happens when infusion pumps are actually being programmed to deliver just the right kind of medicines. And also the error management system with most infusion pumps are not so well pronounced. So we are getting into a certain specific sets of problems that are coming up with the infusion pumps that we have today. And in spite of all these problems, there's yet another bigger problem is that the difference in the kind of infusion rates and quantities that are going to be given to each patient. What we do is we normally, take the case of a typical ICU. What we are doing is we are giving patients drug doses based on very generalized set of features. That's just for example, what we're doing is we're pushing the same amount of adrenaline to a 120 kilo person as well as to 100 or to an 80, because the band of drug dosage delivery is very narrow for most of these infusion pump manufacturers. Now, what that leaves us is with an inaccurate amount of dosing of the kind of drugs that the various kind of drugs that can be given to ICU patients. And as a result, we are missing out on certain demographic characteristics such as age, sex, body weight, previous medical history, and all of that is just overshadowed by the current medical condition in which we have to just calculate the amount of drugs that can be given. Now, Infuseit is it's a suite of software solution that can actually take care of this problem. There are a couple of key problems that we are trying to address with Infuseit. And that is, first and foremost, we're trying to bring in the whole concept of arriving towards precision medicine when we are dealing with a wide variety of patients. So what this software actually will do is it will take, and the first thing that it will try and do, if the facility is available, is to integrate with the electronic health records. Once when it has integrated with the electronic health records, we have a fair enough idea of a couple of demographic indicators of the patient, the past medical history, any drug allergies that have happened in the past, and that gives us a good background to begin with. And this background can then be added on and coupled with the present medical condition of the patient, in which case we will go in for the drug dose modification. Now, all of this also is very cumbersome if we don't automate this process. What we're trying to do is to bring in together a huge drug repository in which the kind of drugs, the demographic variations that can happen with whether it's in a geriatric case, whether it's a pediatric case, whether it's an adult, male, female, all of those variations can be added on into this drug library, which can become a universal drug library, which we can use across various ICUs. And this will supersede the guidance that is given by the various kinds of manufacturers of infusion pumps. Also, what we're trying to do is we're trying to simplify the drug dosage calculations, which are very tedious and time consuming, and which often is very difficult in busy ICUs as well as in multiple complex clinical scenarios. So all of these features have been put together into this software, which can actually be made to use across various ICUs in a wide variety of clinical settings. Coupled with this, the other thing that we are actually trying to get this software into doing it is to be able to remotely access wireless infusion pumps if there is a provision. We're trying to work on a technology in which a normal infusion pump can be converted into a wireless infusion pump, because most of the basic technology that these infusion pumps have is a peristaltic mechanism of drug delivery. And if that is the case, then I think most of these infusion pumps can actually be fitted with a device, which would be an IoT device, a very low cost IoT device, which can actually act as a wireless transmitter of any modifications that we can make. Now, because of this remote access feature, what will happen is that even consultants who are not there in the ICU at that point of time can, based on the input from the clinical feedback of the patient, make alterations in these infusion pumps. They can correct infusion pump dosages even remotely. So this is the second advantage that we're thinking. And the third is a very simple and robust error detection mechanism, wherein any kind of an error, whether it's upstream or downstream into the infusion circuit, we will be getting a feedback into into all the connected devices, so that anybody who is getting the error mechanism can make a change from there itself, or the infusion pump can actually be programmed to stop by itself. So the whole idea is to have a software which is universal in nature. It's simple and easy to use, can be easily operated even by the JNM nursing staff, or even by the freshly passed out medical graduates, without the need for cumbersome complex clinical calculations. So that's what we're trying to achieve by having this software. Hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
doctor.
you're audible.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, I'd like to confess a bit of the technology side, because I'm a clinician, I'm not a doctor, so much of the electronic circuits that have been given by part of my team. So they're not at this point of time, so I won't really be able to go through the complex technological discussions at this point of time, and I apologize for that.
No worries. So we'll move. Can we move to the jury for the questions now?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. So we'll move on to the first jury member, Raghuramji, for the questions, please.
Dr. Nitesh, thank you so much. It's
Thank you,
a
sir.
wonderful solution. And what I understand is regulated dosage infusion. You are trying to add intelligence on top of it based on the clinical decision support system,
Yes, sir.
collecting the demographic as well as the medical conditions of the patient. And there are two elements I see on your solution. One is automated drug delivery dispensing. That's more of an embedded software. And the other side, I see more of a clinicians use how to regulate, the usability part of it. Am I right? This my
Yes, sir.
understanding
Yes,
is
sir.
right. Now, are you trying to work with the OEMs of the medical devices? Because all these things are like Baxter, you quoted. They are very advanced in this release mechanisms. I've been talking to some of these CTOs there. This is an embedded element is something which has to be going into the system. What's your business model?
Okay, so what we're trying to do is, well, obviously, for getting our software perfected, for trying to see how it works across a wide variety of manufacturers, whether it is Braun, Baxter, or anybody, we'll have to talk to these people to be able to allow us to use their infusion pumps out of their ecosystems, so that we can see how far we are from their ecosystems. Now, I had a look at Braun ecosystems, and I have gone through the entire Braun ecosystem of infusion pump delivery. And they have more or less, it's quite closed. It's quite closed. The advantage that we are trying to pitch into them is the concept of more or less trying to arrive very close to what we would term as a precision medicine in terms of drug delivery. That's the kind of advantage that we can have, in addition to what these large players have. So we can try and pitch into them. Apart from that, what we can also do is, if we are not able to pitch into the larger OEMs, we can try and pitch into the OEMs that have either been out of some incubation, or who are manufacturers who are based out of India. so that right at the time at which their next product comes out, we can co-work and see if we can have an IoT device that can actually allow us to integrate our software with them. That should give us two advantages. One is we should be able to perfect our drug delivery mechanism into our control system as to how we are integrating with the IoT. And secondly, the impact of the the clinical impact of such a solution, wherein we are trying to skip the the absolute 1:1 clinical decision making into something which is more modular and can be used universally by any member of the healthcare facility. So the way in which I think we can go forward is to try and collaborate and work with the manufacturers so that we can come up with a solution which even they can use or integrate back into their systems. So even if it is if
Yeah,
it is,
understood. Just to I'm sorry for stopping your flow, but
no, that's fine.
I
That's fine, sir.
understood. So my only suggestion is if you identify OEMs, a target audience, like,
Yes, sir.
suppose if you, many of these medtech companies are linked to MTZ, definitely. Somewhere or other, they have a huge presence. Through them, many of these companies are running their own innovation centers or technology innovation centers, what we call it, to bring in more and more nuances into their devices. So that could be a bigger possibility, or I see it as a more feasible option, because the small time players, they don't invest too much on it because they are
Absolutely,
cheaper,
sir.
they want to be faster. But if you look at a Baxter and then they want to improvise on the embedded software to be more precise, they are more than willing to do a POC. So my suggestion is
That would definitely be welcome, sir, if we can definitely have a word with them.
Thank you. It's a good
Thank you, sir.
solution, Doctor.
Thank you, sir.
So over to you, Dr. Nirvan. You can have your questions to Dr. Shakila and Dr. Nitesh both, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, so for Nitesh, I think it's a very welcoming thing, the dosage, digital technology based dosage given to particular patient. Sorry, I'm not formalizing what I'm trying to. But there are some companies. I'm just trying to remember their name in India. They were doing. I just some. But anyway, I'll probably connect and I'll tell you. But this is a very very innovative and very very good contribution to the healthcare. That's I don't have particularly much questions. So all my questions have been asked by Raghuram ji. Yeah. So you stole it, my thought. But yeah, for Dr. Shakila and for probably Dr. Nitesh also. Uh, for Dr. Nitesh, I think I guess it's a smaller. It's just one device. Dr. Shakila, my again the question is again with the Raghuram ji, the plug-in of different devices. Like you are talking about the radiological images and stuff, like having those capturing those DICOM images and visualizing it in the mobile application. So those are very complicated, a little complicated things. So the questions I ask, I'm just like, I wish you guys all the best, because I know that, I'm pretty certain that you might have a very strong team to suggest you in there. So, but yeah, so I'm pretty, so I think like those are the points to be noted. And one thing, like, I would see, I was just writing in the chat. So I used to work with a company called RDT long time back in UK. So they were doing those vital monitoring, like quite some times back, like 12 15 years back. They were
Which
now
company, sir? I didn't hear you properly.
RDT. I forgot the full name. RDT. I wrote in the chat. The Philips used to do also. So my question was that what was your USP, because you are connecting and doing it India. That's like you have a big population and that's solving some issues, like solving issues of half of the humanity in this world. That's fantastic, because half of us living in here. Uh, but if you can concentrate on like this RDT devices also, they do is like not the ICU monitoring. This is not a questioning. I'm just like very informally kind of like suggesting something what I gather along the path. So they were like, remote monitoring telemedicines. Like they started like, Philips was also one of the big player. Like when Philips is interested in that, that's very good. They have the know-how also. So they have been doing also like, this remote monitoring in the cruises and stuff like that, where the like, the instrument you cannot carry, and so sorry, the instrument you can carry, but the doctors are not there, so they would send it to a SaaS model, like, in a cloud.
Yeah.
So yeah, so RDTs have been, and Philips is also doing it for some time. So you might want to check, like, if, yeah, that's it. That, congratulations and all the best. Is like, and hey, one last thing is like, so Nitesh, when you were saying that with the EHR, so are you so you are going global now, or because India, I
Don't think so. We have got EHR out
yeah,
here.
we are fighting for it for last, like, many years, and yeah, there is otherwise the hospitals, how would they make like 100 rupees card for you every time, no?
I'm fighting for the last 10 years for EHR.
Okay. There is a guy in, we'll connect. There is a guy in Bangalore. So he was a HL7 proponent in India. He was like for long time he's struggling. So this is the question, is this is you're going global with this once you're talking about EHR, or
I think we have got two approaches to that. One is if we're thinking of EHR integration, I think in India, if we are trying to do this sort of an EHR integration, we'll have to go for a certain degree of manual. Some of the hospitals do have some form of EHR, wherein what we can actually pick up from those sets of EHRs is not very complex data sets, but enough to get us going in terms of past medical history, allergies, and socio-demographics. These are the three key things that we can actually pick up from those kind of EHRs. But yes, if we are going in for a very complex EHR, then I don't think so at this stage we'll be able to integrate this in our country. But essentially, whether or not we integrate EHR into the system, the whole idea is to ease the calculation and the variation part in drug dosing. What happens in all ICUs, I mean, I have worked in ICUs, I've known one thing is that different consultants have got different drug dosing calculation mechanisms, and then obviously most of the time what we've seen is nurses tend to modify drug dosing calculations very arbitrarily. So what we're trying to do is to introduce uniformity, so that at the end of the day it goes to benefit the patient and not the whims and fancies of anybody who's operating that machine. So that's more of the aim, rather than trying to go in for more advanced systems which we don't have yet in our country.
right.
So if I may intervene, Dr.
Yes, sir.
Anirban,
Yes, sir.
just want to give one input. The largest EHR provider in the country is CDOT,
See
and
that.
Yeah.
under the aegis of Ministry of
Yeah.
Electronics. Okay,
Meta.
it comes under METI,
Mm.
and there is also there are two softwares coming from METI, both government organizations, that are largely adopted, widely used, except few governments who develop their own EHR and HMS systems. But it makes sense for any one of the innovators to start approaching CDOT. They are also encouraging innovation, and they are trying to look at. They are the people who can actually take and then test it on the field, um, and also certify. They also certify the solutions which are coming in, and large volumes of data. So through CDOT directly or through METI, I think through AMTZ can really help in approaching
Yeah.
being a government organization. So I just wanted to tell
Thank you
this one.
so
And in
much, sir.
fact, it's got
Yeah.
not just EHR, HMS, a lot many other uh, solutions bundled into one package.
Thank you,
so much, sir.
Raghuram. Thank you, Dr. Anirban.
Thank
And
you.
just to add on what Dr. Raghuram said,
Yeah,
I
I
think
just would like
NDHM sandbox is one which everyone should look into it, because consent manager and a lot of other architectural changes are being suggested by NDHM. And in fact, AMTZ is part of the technical advisory committee for that. And we can certainly help people loop in. So just a final round of questions from jury, one each from Dr. Anand and Dr. Kavita. So let me just bring in Dr. Kavita for the final round of questions.
Hi,
Thank you.
Dr. Kavita.
Hi, Dr. Nitish. Hi, Dr. Shakila. Nice presentation. I just have 3 questions to both of you. At which stage your solution is right now?
Which one? The
Both the
EICU?
solutions.
Both.
Okay. Okay, so if you talk about the tele-ICU solutions, then a lot of it has been done already. It is already working as a pilot in 2 states.
Yeah, we are just
Um,
like, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Like as far as the tele-ICU, we have been doing it in bits and pieces. So for the past 2 months, we have started integrating, and then as Dr. Nitesh was pointing, we have started it as a pilot in 2 places within Chennai, and next month we are making another 2 pilot projects in Bangalore. So first we will be integrating all these 4 centers, and later we are trying to expand. This is the stage as of now at present.
Okay. At Chennai and Bangalore, in government sector, public sector, small clinics,
private.
big hospitals, what is the
Like in Bangalore, it is only a tier 2 city where it's a private sector. In Chennai, it is in the middle of Chennai. Sorry, it's in the main metro city, and we have 2 private hospitals. We have just started the
how many
overall
bedded
process.
hospitals are they?
It's a 10-bedded ICU in one place. Another place, it is a 6-bedded ICU.
Okay.
So these things, the integration of data and all the collection and all that, we have started. And then this is something like a pilot. The Chennai center is the pilot. And then once we expand, there will be a lot of collections will happen, and then we will be able to channelize and use AI to make it as more precisive. And see, like when the presentation was going on and when Dr. Raghuraman was informing, discussing and all that, it should be something like as digital health is improving in our country, we have to make it all the private sectors at least to make the EHR as mandatory. So that way, it will
Yes.
if that
Not of
happens,
private sector, but government sector also, since
yeah,
government is
sector
doing
also.
lot many initiatives,
Yeah, that's
and
like
we
we
don't
have
have
become,
many healthcare professionals, so it can be a solution for government as well. So that is what I
yeah,
wanted to understand. I wanted to understand, like the data, whether what are the challenges? Has it been practically, done? This pilot has been done, or it is still under process? You're still developing the software or other things. So this is what I wanted to know. If you're
yep,
still growing, or maybe while practicing you have been you ever faced any challenges, while you are connecting to patients data, input output connectivity, and then monitoring, especially because it's difficult. It's not that a easy solution for patients. Also, it's difficult to be in an ICU without a doctor. So all these challenges, I mean, I really wanted to get an overview whether it was successfully done, or there were some challenges and you improved those challenges, or gradually you would be improving those challenges. So this is what I wanted to know, practically how practically it was possible for you to do that.
Yeah, I'll try and
yeah,
answer that one. So the practical challenges that we faced was, one was isolating the data collection part, and the part at which, in any busy ICU, I mean, any ICU obviously is busy, but even with that, it was, I mean, it still is, it is a real challenge to actually get, the patients off that data. I mean, there has to be a parallel monitoring which is going on while it's almost like operating on a beating heart kind of a scenario, wherein we don't have much opportunity to make modifications into the existing, drug delivery that is going to happen, or in the clinical modifications that's going to happen. Why? Because every patient is under the care and control of some doctor, some senior
That is
doctor,
what.
or
So
some
I just want
consultant.
to know the challenges. So 1, 2, 3, if you can tell me any challenges which you faced
yeah,
during these
integration is
pilot.
the first challenge. Integration of data and storage of data
Yeah, there are
and
multiple devices. Yeah.
multiple devices,
Mm.
seamless delivery of our healthcare. Imagine the data which has to go to the renal doctor has to reach him exactly in time,
Yes, yes.
and management of time. That is the most, timely management of critical care delivery is the most challenging, which I can.
Also, different clinical practices is one challenge which we are facing, because most of the doctors have got different clinical practices, and as such, coordinating them onto the same, guidelines is another challenge that we are really facing.
Okay, and what about the device? And in which state? Thank you, Dr. Shakila, and thank you, Dr. Nitish, for this, ICU software. But I also want to know in which stage your device is, and have you whether this device is in the market or which stage it is. What are the outcomes?
We haven't got a device of our own. We are trying to integrate with various devices.
Software, maybe the software. Have you used the software anywhere else?
Not more than what Dr. Shakila has said.
Okay, for infusion pump also?
No, for infusion pumps, we haven't started using them in clinical settings. But yes, we'll need to start using them right in clinical settings.
And
Thank you,
there are
Dr.
already
We are
existing
running out of
solutions.
time.
Okay, maybe we
Not
can
the time.
talk later. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you, Dr. Nitesh, and Dr. Thank you,
so
Dr.
Thanks, Dr.
So
Kavita.
we'll ask everyone to switch on the video for the final click for the event, and then I would ask Dr. Raghuram to say a few words about the program, and I welcome Dr. Sharma, who has already joined the event.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Dr.
Thank you.
Sharma.
Dr. Sharma ji, namaskar. Good to see you once again. So, Mr. Manish and Dr. Sharma ji, this is one of the excellent innovation programs you have constituted. And today's the presentations, what we have seen, are top quality. One of them is in very, very ideation stage, but a very, very critical need of the hour for the society, well thought about, and the doctor themselves are presenting. And we have a few implementation related support which these startups need, very much needed, and it is feasible under the auspices of AMTZ. That's what I realize. And I look forward to more and more such innovation coming in. And the last point I would like to add is I have been a proponent of the fourth dimension of healthcare delivery after primary, secondary, and tertiary, that is remote healthcare delivery. I think all these innovations which are leading towards reaching to the last mile, and especially in the low resource settings, is something which is very welcome. And I'll be more than happy to be part of any of the endeavors from AMTZ. Thanks for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Raghuramji. A final word from Dr. Anand so that we can ask innovators to log out.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. It's the past 2 days we had a wide spectrum of applicants and ideas, and thanks everyone for taking this time. And I see there's a lot of hard work put on this slides. We are doing it remotely, and you all made a lot of efforts on those slides to make your points reach us. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Manish, before you ask the innovators to log out, I wanted you to let innovators and all of us know how many innovators have in total applied or presented, and out of those whom we select, when can they expect to hear back from you?
Sure.
Because many of them may have commitments, Diwali holidays, and so on. So if you could give a tentative time frame, they and all of us would be well prepared, both technologically as well as financially. That's where we need to be more prepared. They need to be prepared technologically. We need to be prepared financially to host them. So some kind of time frame would be very helpful.
Yes, sir. So we have in total 16 applications, out of which we have 8 presentations in across 2 days. And we'll be announcing the result by tomorrow day end and the timelines for them to showcase the POC. So we are looking at next month end for the POC to be showcased at AMTZ, not remotely. And once the POC is seen, then Dr. Anand's team, Mediveli, would be looking at for the way forward, what Dr. Sharma said, kind of support from AMTZ. in terms of innovation taking forward to the MVC and the product enhancement level. And whatever the support we require from the research level, making the product reach the market.
And what is the support that we are giving them in this call?
So in this call, we are giving them for the product development 5 lakh each category.
So I saw our hidden genius, Dr. Anirban somewhere. He came on the screen and vanished. So I only saw 2 bytes of him, two MBs of him. Is he there?
Yeah. No. I am.
Yeah. Okay.
I am.
Before we could catch the GB of you, we could only see MBs and it vanished. So, Dr. Anirban, I was just wondering,
Right.
can all of them be mentored by Data Foundry?
I
And
have to.
and we could because you are our partner,
Right.
we could give, say, financial resources to Data Foundry, and Data Foundry could monitor the milestones along with our team and disburse it.
Right.
In that way, Data Foundry large space can be also be put to use by them,
Right.
and Data Foundry could be our partner, and all the applicants when they join Manishi, they can be given, say, because this is entirely a software-based development, I understand, isn't it, Manishi?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So maybe when they join, they could be given, say, 1 lakh rupees onboarding cost on the day they join. The only thing is that they have to continue to keep their human resources. Whether it is 1% or 2%, I don't know how much your call requires them. But that effort of IT must happen by credible hands at AMTZ. Otherwise, what happens is the innovator is sitting somewhere and then there is an intern sitting here. That won't work. So I would only suggest register 2 team members from every team along with their CV, and they would be the focal point of contact. Take their attendance if required biometrically as they sit at AMTZ. Data Foundry could be our institutional mentor for them, because whatever they are doing, Data Foundry can also convert it into a business plan. Our innovators might be doing a product, but then product to a business plan is Data Foundry's expertise.
Right.
And the Data Foundry could be our institutional mentor for them, and you can give them disbursements on the day they join, and continue disbursements with milestones, and ensure that each one of them converts themselves into a business plan and not just a product. Is that okay, Manishi?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
And we have Raghuramji, who is also our mentor from NASCOM. So we will see how some of these could be branched into NASCOM's programs and METI's programs. So I think this would be a very good collective achievement, collective effort, and not just AMTZ's effort. We can institutionally acknowledge not only innovators but also mentors who help us collectively achieve a very formidable outcome in each of these innovations. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. I think we would like to hear from the innovators a few words after Dr. Sharma's remarks, if anybody wants to comment on it.
No, I think what Dr. Sharma said is perfectly fine, and as it helps us, get there much faster. And also the accountability part is well taken care of, because even with me and Dr. Shakil are also facing that problem with human resources as we speak of now. We're having difficulty in coordinating with the people who would be placed there. So I think if we lay down that rule right in the beginning, I think it would be much better for us, at least.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nili.
Thank you.
So we would be announcing the results by tomorrow evening and reaching out to you for the next steps. There will be a detailed mail which would go out from our side.
Okay, sir.
Any questions, you can all reach out to me or the national coordinator in the flyer which is mentioned, Mr. Junaid.
Okay, sir.
Definitely.
And we are not hard and fast about selecting one or two. We would like to select as many as possible, just in case in our immediate priorities or budget limits, some of you don't fit in. Let that not be considered that the innovation you bring on the table is not of value, or you are cut off from our support. Given the budget lines, if we end up selecting, say, 6 people instead of 8, the other 2 people, I would strongly encourage, although we will try to select everyone, we would strongly encourage to continue to take guidance from Mr. Raghuram. He is actually himself an innovator, entrepreneur, mentor in health IT or NASCOM, and from Dr. Anirban, because it is not always about money. It's about the right leads, right handholding. So just in case any of you don't happen to be in this first list, please feel free to reach out to Mr. Raghuram, Manish Kishorji, myself, and Dr. Anirban. And in our non-financing capacity, whatever it takes to help you and support you, we would do it. Absolutely, no doubts about it.
Well said, sir, Dr. Sharmaji. I think support for the innovation in the country, I'm always there in any capacity.
Absolutely, yeah, and me too. I would also like seriously, that's you're doing something for the country, for the people, and we would be lucky and happy to help you in there.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Manishi, what's next? We can wish everybody well and log out.
Sir, we would have one few minutes with the jury, and
Okay.
I would ask every innovators to request you to thank you and please log out.
Thanks, jury members, for giving us the opportunity, and once again, apologies for the network glitch. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks everyone for
Bye-bye.
a wonderful opportunity.
Appreciate your comments.
Thank
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
I would request Kaiser and Harish also to log out, please.